The copy operation duplicates a file or a directory. We can use copy command to copy files and directories. Copy command is cp. And let's look at some of the examples on how to copy a file. In order to copy a file, let's copy file 1 to a new file. So let me do an ls. As you can see, there are no files. So let me create file 1 first. Touch file 1. That will create a file called file 1. Let's do an ls. As you can see, file 1 is listed there. Now let's try the copy function. We're going to copy file 1 to a new file called new file 1. Copy file 1 to new file 1. I'm going to hit enter. If there are no error messages, usually that means the command is successfully executed. Let's do an ls again to see what the results are. As you can see, the new file is there. We successfully copied file 1 to new file 1. We can copy it in the same location. We can copy it in different locations as well. Let's move on to the next part. If the file already exists, so let's say you were copying a file to the same way we did just right now. We were copying a file 1 to new file 1, but let's say if the new file 1 already existed, it gets overwritten by default. It will not give you messages unless you have something specified in your system. By default, your existing file will get overwritten and you will have a new file. But if you use -i option, if you want a confirmation before you start overwriting files, that's what you will use. So let's look at that example so you have an idea of what I'm talking about. So let me get the command back. And this time I'm going to add option I. So command is basically the same. We just added option I. I'm going to hit enter. As you can see, the file is being overwritten. And it's giving you a message, overwrite new file 1. Let's hit yes. And let's proceed. Let's do an ls. As you can see, new file 1 is still there, but it's overwritten. So in case you want to be careful, you want to use the -i option. Otherwise, let's try it without that option. I'm going to copy file 1 to new file 1 again. Hit enter. As you can see, we got no messages. The file did get overwritten. You have to be careful when you're copying files. If a file already exists, Linux will not give you a message. So make sure you use -i option when you're copying a file. So in case that file name already exists, you will see that message and you can stop from copying it or overwriting it. Let's move on to the second example. We're going to copy a directory called dir1 to a directory called dir2. And also it's saying copy a directory recursively. Recursively means copy all the data. So let's say directory 1, which is dir1, had subdirectories and other content or files in it, you will copy all of them as well to directory 2, which is dir2. So let's see how we can do that. Let me do an ls. As you can see, we only have 2 files. There's no directory existing currently. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a directory called dir1. Make dir1, enter. Let's do an ls. As you can see, dir1 exists now. So now I'm going to copy it with -r option to do it recursively. dir1, and I'm going to copy it to dir2, which is the one. It will not only create dir2, it will also copy the data recursively. So I'm going to hit enter. Let's do an ls. As you can see, dir2 is there. That's how you can copy a directory recursively to another directory. This directory has no data in it, but if it did have it, it would be also copied to the directory we just created. And that's how you copy files and directories. I hope you learned something useful from this video as well, and I'll see you in the next one.